Where is the ambulance? Houston Danker killed Ryan Cooper.
She said I could shoot you in the face.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Karina Cooper, guilty of the offense of murder in the first degree.
She walked into the courtroom each day with a calm expression. A woman convinced her version of events was the only one that mattered. To the jury, Karina Cooper presented herself as a grieving widow, a victim of a dangerous man's obsession. She spoke of fear, of manipulation, and of a single terrible night where she lost everything. For 6 days, she held on to the story that Houston Danker acted alone. Then, the prosecutor played a recording of her sister-in-law's voice, reading the words Karina herself had typed. The room heard her digital dreams of a new life, her complaints about her husband, and the chilling, logistical planning of a murder. But it was the reading of that one-word message, "Go," that changed the air in the courtroom. In the silence that followed the playback, her fate was no longer in the hands of her performance, but permanently recorded in the data on a screen. She was not a widow grieving a tragedy. She was an architect of one, and the blueprint was her own.
Did Houston talk about killing Ryan?
Several times.
Did you want your husband dead?
No.
Early in the morning on June 18th, 2021, a 911 call came from a home in Traer, Iowa. A man was not breathing. Police officers arrived quickly and found 42-year-old Ryan Cooper sitting in his recliner. He had been shot twice in the face while he slept. His wife, Karina Cooper, was there. A deputy saw her sitting on top of Ryan's body, crying. Family members who came to the scene also saw her lying on him.
What happened? Where's the guy with the gunshot? My brother in the living room. With the other deputy? No.
The house became a busy crime scene. Officers collected 2 shell casings from the floor. They checked for footprints and searched every room. Ryan Cooper was a farmer and a truck driver. His 3 children were asleep upstairs during the murder. They did not wake up until after the police arrived. The murder seemed like a mystery with no answers. But the real evidence was not on the floor. It was hidden inside Karina's phone. This evidence would stay hidden for almost 3 years before it told the true story. Karina Cooper had been married to Ryan for many years. Their marriage was not happy. Karina worked at a hair salon. At the salon, she met a customer named Houston Danker. Houston was 27 years old, and Karina was 48. They started talking during his haircuts. Soon, their conversations became more personal. They began a secret affair. It was not just a simple fling. They planned a future together. They talked about getting married. They discussed having children and even IVF treatments. But Ryan Cooper was in the way. Karina and Houston used Snapchat to send private messages. These messages would later reveal everything. Karina told Houston she hated her husband. She called Ryan a sperm donor. She said she wanted him dead. Houston listened and agreed. He later told police he was just Karina's gay best friend. But the messages proved they were lovers. Their secret love was dangerous and led to a deadly plan. Karina and Houston Danker plotted to kill Ryan Cooper. They had a clear motive. Ryan had a $500,000 life insurance policy. Karina was the only person who would get the money. If Ryan died, Karina and Houston could use that money to start a new life together. On Snapchat, they discussed how to kill Ryan. Hours before the murder, Houston sent a message to Karina. He said, "Remember those shell casings. No ifs, ands, or buts." Karina replied, "Absolutely, 100%. Then, Houston sent another message. It was just one word, "Go." Prosecutors later called this the green light for murder. Karina would later claim that Houston acted alone, but the messages showed they planned it together. Friends of Karina said she had threatened Ryan before. In the fall of 2020, she told Ryan she could shoot him in the face. She said it in front of other people. It was not a joke. The plot was carefully planned. They thought they could get away with it, but they made mistakes. After Ryan's death, the case went unsolved for nearly 3 years. Police investigated, but did not have enough evidence to arrest anyone. Then, in February 2024, they looked at Karina's phone. The messages with Houston Danker were discovered. The messages showed the affair and the murder plot. Police also found that Ryan had become suspicious of Karina. In his personal files, he had a page from Karina's call records. Attached to it was a yellow post-it note. The note said Houston D with a phone number. It matched Houston Danker's contact information. Ryan was collecting evidence about the affair. Karina was arrested in February 2024. 2 months later, Houston Danker was also arrested. Both were charged with first-degree murder. They were accused of acting together to kill Ryan Cooper. Houston Danker was held in jail on a $1 million bond. The investigation involved the Tama County Sheriff's Office and the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation. It took time and patience, but it finally brought justice. Karina Cooper's trial began in July 2025 inside the Lynn County Courthouse in Cedar Rapids. For 6 days, the courtroom heard emotional testimony, complex digital evidence, and 2 completely different stories about what happened the night Ryan Cooper died. The prosecution, led by Assistant Attorney General Michael Ringel, described a cold and calculated plan. He called it a meticulously planned killing. He showed the jury the Snapchat messages between Karina, who was now 48, and her 27-year-old lover, Houston Danker. These messages, exchanged in the hours before and after Ryan's killing, revealed a comprehensive plot. Prosecutors presented texts where Karina and Danker discussed their deep desire for a future together, including plans to get married and even undergo IVF treatments to have a family. These conversations established their powerful motive. The most damning messages, however, were the practical instructions. Danker warned Karina about the shell casings, telling her, "Remember those shell casings. No ifs, ands, or buts." Her reply, "Absolutely, 100%, was followed by the single, decisive word from Danker, "Go." Ringel argued this sequence proved direct cooperation and premeditation. He then presented forensic science to place Karina at the heart of the crime. Experts talked about bullet trajectory and blood spatter patterns. They pointed out that her own flashlight was found near Ryan's body. Ringel focused on her strange behavior after the shooting, where she sat on Ryan and rubbed her face in his blood. He told the jury this was a deliberate act to hide gunshot residue and stage the scene, contradicting her story of a panicked discovery. The defense, led by public defender Nicole Watt, told a story of fear and manipulation. She argued that Karina's lies after the fact came from being terrified of Houston Danker, not from guilt. Watt challenged the Snapchat evidence, warning the jury about technological gaps and saying there was no direct message ordering a murder. She portrayed Danker as a coercive and controlling figure who took advantage of Karina. Watt insisted her client was emotionally overwhelmed and manipulated, not a willing participant in murder.
Houston Danker. Houston Danker killed Ryan Cooper. Houston Danker shot Ryan Cooper in the face. Houston Danker solicited Karina. Houston Danker manipulated Karina. Houston Danker lured Karina. Houston Danker had Karina living in a dream world. Houston Danker killed Ryan Cooper. Karina Cooper was in a dream world, and then it became real, and then she was in too deep. She did not want her husband dead. She did not want his life insurance money.
Her final plea to the jury was straightforward. She may be an idiot in her relationship, but she didn't murder her husband. In his final rebuttal, Prosecutor Ringel countered strongly, stating the digital and physical evidence were undeniable. He ended by saying, "This is reality. This is science. She's guilty." The trial also featured powerful testimony from people who knew the Coopers well. Friends from their small town of Traer took the stand and painted a picture of a marriage filled with tension and hostility. Brian Morrison, one of Ryan's closest friends, gave emotional testimony about a disturbing moment in the fall of 2020. He said Karina looked at Ryan and stated sharply, "I could shoot you in the face." He told the jury it was not a joke.
There was times in general relationships, I hate you, I wish you were dead. Obviously the big one you're thinking of is we were in his shop one night and she said I could shoot you in the face, which was surprising.
Other friends, like Kirsty Sitta, testified that Karina had become secretive and had talked about wanting to take Ryan for everything financially. Teresa McBride recalled Karina saying years earlier that she wanted to shoot Ryan in the face. Carmen Earhart described Karina becoming more volatile and distant. Together, their stories showed a long pattern of resentment. A key witness was Ryan's own sister, Michelle Cooper Wilson. As the bookkeeper for the family farm, she provided crucial timeline evidence. She told the court that Karina had been removed from the farm's phone plan back in September 2020, showing a growing distance from the family long before the murder. More importantly, Wilson testified that after Ryan's death, she found a page from Karina's phone records in his personal files. Stuck to it was a yellow post-it note with Houston D and a phone number. This proved Ryan had become suspicious of the affair and was gathering his own evidence, which the prosecution used to show motive and planning. The jury of 12 people began their deliberations just after 1:18 in the afternoon. They took a short break around 4 p.m. because the judge needed to warn everyone about severe weather moving into the area. Then, they went back to decide Karina Cooper's fate. At 4:51 p.m. on Friday, July 11th, 2025, after just over 3 hours of discussion, they returned to the courtroom with a unanimous verdict: guilty of first-degree murder. Karina Cooper showed no visible emotion as the verdict was read. The judge immediately revoked her $1 million bail. Tama County Sheriff Casey Schmidt stepped forward, placed her in handcuffs, and led her out of the courtroom. She now faced a mandatory sentence of life in prison without parole, with her formal sentencing set for September 2025. In the courtroom, the reaction was emotional as Ryan's family cried quietly and embraced one another. They felt a measure of peace, that justice had been served, but it was mixed with a deep sadness, knowing the verdict could not bring Ryan back. While Karina's trial was over, there was still more to come, as her co-conspirator, Houston Danker, awaited his own trial.
Would counsel and parties please stand? All right, I have a form of verdict. Form of verdict 2, we, the jury, find the defendant, Karina Cooper, guilty of the offense of murder in the first degree, dated this 11th day of July, 2025.
Houston Danker was scheduled for trial in August 2025. His trial was moved to Johnson County. He planned an alibi defense, claiming he was at his parents' home during the murder. But before jury selection began, he pleaded guilty to first-degree murder. He admitted that he helped Karina Cooper kill Ryan. At his sentencing, he declined to make a statement. The judge sentenced him to life in prison without parole. He also ordered him to pay $150,000 in restitution to Ryan's estate. Karina Cooper was sentenced in September 2025. She also received life in prison without parole. At her sentencing, she did not speak. The judge denied a motion for a new trial. Ryan's family gave victim impact statements. They told the court how much they missed Ryan. They said Karina and Houston destroyed their family. The judge called the crime a senseless act. It deprived the children of both parents. The family said they were sentenced to life without Ryan. Ryan's sister, Michelle Wilson, spoke at both sentencings. She said Ryan was a quiet man who loved farming, but most of all, he loved being a dad to his 4 children. At Karina's sentencing, she delivered a raw and emotional victim impact statement. "Those of us left on Earth were sentenced to life without Ryan," Wilson said. "There is no justice. There will be no forgiveness. What I hope for now is simply closure." She called Karina and Houston psychopaths who planned and executed a vile murder, and concluded her remarks directly to Karina. "My full, complete, and final message to you is go to hell."
We will never stop saying Ryan's name. We will never stop celebrating Ryan's life. And we will never stop supporting Ryan's greatest and most beautiful legacy, his children. Cole, Cade, Cable, and Cortland will forever know how much their father loved them and how so very proud of them he was. Ryan will forever be remembered as a wonderful father, son, brother, uncle, friend, truck driver, neighbor. He was a man of few words. He spent hours on the phone, hours on end, making phone calls. And you all remember the headset and the miles and miles he paced while talking on his phone. And though it seemed he only had a few close friends, the attendance at his funeral and the miles-long line of semis at his funeral procession say the most about who he was to our community. Ryan was sentenced to death by this murderer. Those of us left on earth were sentenced to life without Ryan. There is no justice. There will be no forgiveness. What I hope for now is simply closure. There is no sentence for you that would adequately punish you for your evil, vile, selfish, delusional, and narcissistic actions. I will waste no time and no energy in addressing you about that. My full, complete, and final message to you is go to hell. Thank you, Your Honor.
Following the conviction, Ryan's family also took legal action, asking a judge to freeze the remaining funds from the $500,000 life insurance payout Karina received, and to return any spent money to Ryan's estate. Ryan's sister-in-law, Heather Cooper, also spoke, expressing her commitment to raise Ryan's children, while acknowledging it could never replace their father. She said the guilty verdict brought a different kind of sadness, one that felt like another death, emphasizing that the family was sentenced to a life without Ryan.
She destroyed people, manipulated people, some in their most vulnerable times of their lives, claiming she had been through tragedy and loss and pain and could support. What kind of sick person does that? Was it worth it? This online, you say, relationship, was it worth it? Awful, deceiving person. She deserves the worst. But I'm tired of focusing on her. I want to plan trips and make schedules, hang out with friends, laugh at good times, make amazing memories. I don't want her to be the topic anymore. I want to enjoy life without hanging over us. So this is it. Last she will see of us. Last I will address her. Last I will care to give her any thought. She can now go to prison.
Karina Cooper, now incarcerated, was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Although she retains the right to file an appeal, she will spend her life behind bars. Her co-conspirator, Houston Danker, is also serving a life sentence. While the legal case is over, the profound pain endures for Ryan's family and friends. Karina Cooper stood trial believing her story would be believed, but in the end, it was not her testimony that mattered. It was her own digital footprint that decided her fate. The Snapchat messages plotting a future, the cold discussion of shell casings, and that final unforgivable command, go, proved to be her undoing. Combined with the forensic evidence and the testimony of those who saw her hostility, these elements constructed an inescapable truth for the jury. The case demonstrates how modern evidence, texts, searches, and digital plans can unravel even a murder plot years in the making. It leaves us with a final question. Was this the result of a calculated, shared plan between two people, or one manipulated into ultimate betrayal? What do you believe? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you liked this video, then give a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more crime stories.